ask you, why a giant spider?
That's to me. That's my
Yep.
question, isn't it? Yeah, good. Yeah, I wrote the film. Who
Giant
else is
spider.
it going to be? Yeah, well, I have just blistering arachnophobia. Like I'm more scared of spiders than I can put into words. I've always had this issue. And I'm a horror filmmaker, so I'm just trying to work out what the most horrific. My job is to think of the most horrific thing that my brain can come up with, put it in a screenplay, and then make a movie of it. And that's what I did. I couldn't think of anything worse than a spider the size of a jaguar that can bite you, incapacitate you, drag you into an air conditioning duct, and eat you. And the image of a giant spider descending down onto a crib kind of jumped into my brain because we just had a baby, and I was just like, I don't even want to write that, which means I should write it, and here we are. Yeah.
We face fears very differently. I just don't face them. Because I hated so many of these moments because I was like, no, absolutely not. That's a 8-legged spider.
Yeah.
I don't like it. But when you do have, this story, and I'm so proud that she is a young girl kind of leading the charge, even though it is also her doing in the beginning. But for when you're playing a part of a young girl who's made a best friend with a spider, what for you was like the joy of getting to play that beginning part where she's just like talking to her little spider and like loving him in his jar?
Yeah, it was so much fun because it was just lots of little snippets of scenes where I'm like feeding him, feeding her, and stuff like that. And that part was really fun because it was just me with a jar. It didn't have to have greasy, covered in sweat hair, and I was just all clean, and nothing had happened. I could just be happy. I could just be a teenage girl. And yeah, those were really fun scenes to shoot, but they didn't feel like proper scenes compared to the massive, crazy action-packed scenes later on. They felt like little snippets, and they didn't feel the same. Definitely not the same.
With a movie that is so kind of focused on this family and like this like thing that's looming in the darkness that we all know we're going to be terrified of throughout it. How did you balance those funnier moments? Like you have Jermaine Fowler in this movie, who is one of the funniest people on the planet. And so when he kind of runs in and is like, why'd you call those other exterminators? It's just genuinely funny to kind of watch.
Yeah.
How did you navigate that both in the script and then behind the scenes?
I think that just like as a writer, like I like to kind of throw a lot in there. Like I like to have a bit of horror, a bit of tension, a bit of comedy, a bit of drama. Like I kind of like to have the full spectrum in any movie that you do. So it's just a question of balance. But yeah, like when you're dealing with a concept that is pretty horrible, like giant spiders descending on cribs, people being dragged down into basements and eaten by a giant spider. This is a bleak concept. So you need somebody like Jermaine to come in and do the funny, man. Like the audience needs it so much. And actually, a lot of horror is the same as comedy. So comedy and horror are pretty much the same thing. You're going for build tension, build tension, build tension, release. And in comedy, the release is the punchline. Mm-hmm. In horror, the release is sometimes a punchline, but often the jump scare. And the release, instead of the laughter release of comedy, it's the scream release, where you build tension all the way up to the audience vocalizing a reaction. So comedy and horror are very similar, which is why when Jermaine arrived on set and we both just nerded out on horror, I'm like, oh, of course this guy loves horror. And so he knew exactly what film he was in, and yeah, he was great to collaborate with in that role. He's really fun and a big star.
Yeah. Well, and Kiah, you also have him, straight off of a horror movie he was just in, because he was in The Blackening right before this. Yeah. And so it's very fun to see him just continuing being like the comedy horror guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I got him at the right time, because he sort of does it all, really. The thing I like about Jermaine, and it's a similar thing that I like about Alyla too. Not to talk about another actor while we're talking Alyla.
Yeah,
but,
sorry.
He can do comedy, action, drama. and he does his own stunts, and that's something that I like about Alyla too. Like, I can throw any genre of acting at her and she can do it. I don't even know, like, you were like what, 12, 13 when we shot it? You just turned 13. I don't know how you knew how to do these things, but anything I threw at you, you just you could do, you know. And that's the kind of actor I like. I like to think of them as Swiss Army actors, because they have like a knife for every they have a tool for every scene, you know. And Alyla's like that, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I love to, you know, this. I just love how many layers that she kind of has to her, because she's dealing with a lot of stuff within her family. She's also now made the scariest pet of all time, and she's dealing with all of this in the beginning, only to then have to like become this action hero at such a young age. Was there anything that you were doing on like the action, like scary darkness side of things that you personally were kind of scared to try and tackle on your own?
Yeah, well, to be honest, a lot of the stunts were kind of I was used to from doing Furiosa, because
Mhm.
I Furiosa. So the stunts I absolutely love. I love all stunts. I love crawling in the air conditioning vents. It's really, really fun. But I guess there wasn't anything I was nervous for per se, but when I got on set, I kind of just prepared for that scene, and I had my doubts, but I ended up just going for it. And I mean, that was my main way to do it, is just by trying to prepare different scenes in different ways, and sometimes not preparing at all, but sometimes preparing more, depending on how much lead up and what I had to be scared of in the scene. So yeah, there wasn't.
Yeah, and so you're saying your fear is not claustrophobia, because you liked
No.
crawling in vents.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm not. I don't have claustrophobia.
You're just like, the
She
vents
doesn't
are
have
fine.
claustrophobia, not scared of spiders, does her own stunts. What are you even afraid of, Alyla Browne? Like, you are actually like a real life action hero. So weird.
I don't like moths.
You don't like moths.
So you need to be in the
Okay, I
remake of
didn't see that one
Mothman.
coming.
So that Kia's gonna direct, he's gonna
That's
direct
the next
a
one.
remake of
Yeah,
Mothman.
I'll get genuine screams out of you this time. Wow,
I don't
moths. They are
when
kind of
they
freaky.
face, but I would never kill one or anything.
we I mean, and that's what I kind of like about, you know, just the concept as a whole, because you were saying how you were afraid of spiders, so it's kind of where you started from. But I do like that it is a universal fear, so then anyone who is kind of face to face with a giant spider has to then be like, cool, I don't know how to interact with a tiny little one that I have to kill with a shoe. Now I have to kind of face off against this giant thing. Was it always your intention? You were saying you saw the spider going into the crib and things like that, but was it always your intention to kind of just make it this looming large figure?
Yeah, and if you wanted to get pretentious about it, like the whole emotional concept of it, the metaphorical concept was that this cracked family has been broken apart through circumstance to a degree, and they need to come back together. And the giant spider is like the metaphor of the black dog of depression, and Ethan is kind of going through a really bad time, and it's almost like his depression or his anxieties or his lack of connection with his family has called up this beast from beyond the universe, and they throw this beast into the family dynamic, and in order to, you know, come back together as a family, they need to fight a monster. Yeah, but I would never say something like that, because that's pretentious.
Never. But but I also, you know, she has to have this little kind of like tit for tat almost, but like back and forth relationship with her stepdad, who considers himself her father, and it's very teenage angsty, and I kind of love that. In the midst of everything, she's like, and you're not my dad. When you are building that dynamic as actors, was there anything fun you guys all kind of did to like build that family unit out and make it come across as people who did love each other but had that tension there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that all three of us really got along, me, Penelope, and Ryan. Like, we were just like really close from the beginning. Like, I don't know, we all just got each other and stuff. And I think that that helped, because we all kind of built that trust. And then we added on this whole spider element and the fear, and also just me being a teenager, and the script really did that because we could be our loving family, but we weren't. And like me saying mean comments, that is to be played in a certain way. And it was building the base family and then adding on the other elements, which is, I think that's how we did it. And Kiah kind of being like, remember, you're not friends with Ryan. You're supposed to be mad at him. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll try.
Did you base any of that stuff on real stuff? I know Ryan like did have like step parents and stuff, and he brought some of that to what he was doing. Or were you just reacting to Ryan? Because I'm interested, because you just nailed those scenes so well, and I'm interested. Did you bring any stuff from your life, or did you just feel it?
To be honest, I'm not quite sure how or what I did, but I feel like giving death stares is one of my specialties, and my sister stares. So like the whole like what on earth are you doing face, that comes quite naturally to me due to my circumstances with two older sisters. I don't really know how I did it. I couldn't tell you. It just,
I love that death stares is one of that goes on your CV. It's like, I'm good at
Special
riding
skills.
horses. I can do my own stunts. I can sing, and I can do death stares. It's like, you are very good at them, I have to say.
Just under the special skills section.
Death stare.
But thank you guys so much
Death
for
stare
talking.
level 10.
Thank you guys so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm just saying now, please don't make a shark movie. I can't talk to you also about a shark movie.
I'm literally making a shark movie right now. I could show you pictures of the shark. It's horrifying.
Great.
I'm making a
Next time I'm gonna
World War
talk
II
to
shark
you.
movie where dudes are trapped, soldiers are trapped on a raft in the middle of like a fog-bound ocean, and they're just getting eaten one by one. So enjoy that. Yeah, that'll come out
Great.
next
Next
year.
time I talk to you, I'm gonna be like, I watched this one also through my fingers like this. It was terrifying the entire time.
That's hilarious. Yeah, no, I'm working my way through all the monsters, Rachel. I'm gonna get to all of them at some point.
it'll be moths one day.
And then the Mothman remake.
Giant moths. It'll just be a Alyla Browne trying to death stare a giant moth down, you know. Yeah.
It'll work.
I'd make that movie. I'd watch that movie.
But thank you guys so much for talking with me. I really appreciate it.
See you
Thank you,
later.
Rachel.